All right, let's dive straight in. If you served in the US military before 1990, yeah, I'm talking directly to you today. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to take a really fascinating, honestly, absolutely crucial look at this massive gap in the VA system. It's a gap that literally means you might be missing out on benefits you spent your youth earning. So today, we're setting the stage to reveal exactly how you can claim what you're rightfully owed, breaking the whole thing down into clear, actionable steps. Up to $2,200 a month. Think about that. That's what's currently just sitting in the VA system right now, being left on the table by most veterans from your era. And honestly, here's the real kicker. It's not because you don't qualify, and it's definitely not because the paperwork is some impossible mountain to climb. It's simply because, well, nobody's ever sat you down and actually explained the rules in plain, everyday English. Now, let's set the record straight right off the bat. A lot of people hear a huge number like $2,200 and immediately assume it's like one giant secret check the VA is just hiding from you. It's not. There's no magic form you can fill out. That number is actually the compounding result of stacking multiple, smaller, overlooked claims, doing it correctly. Think of this explainer as, our journey together to find those missing puzzle pieces that your file has probably never had added up the right way. So, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll hit the $2,200 monthly gap. Second, the power of presumptive conditions. Third, we're decoding VA math. Fourth, overlooked claims and benefits. And finally, your 5-step action plan. Okay, Section 1. The $2,200 monthly gap and why your specific era matters. So, why does serving before 1990 put you in such a completely unique VA category? Well, it really comes down to the eras, right? The Vietnam era, the Korean DMZ window, those peacetime years, and the early Gulf War buildup. What makes your group entirely different from, say, a veteran who enlisted in 2005 is your exposure history. Serving in those specific windows drastically bumps up the likelihood that you were around conditions the VA now automatically recognizes. Moving on to Section 2, the power of presumptive conditions. This is literally your most important tool. This one concept is the absolute linchpin. It can take a grueling 2-year denial and flip it into an automatic approval. Presumptive simply means the VA automatically assumes your illness is connected to your service. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to go digging up a doctor from 1971 or track down somebody from your old unit to write a statement. Your DD-214 or your military orders, the basic record of where the military sent you, that is all the proof of exposure you need. The law actually does the hard part for you. The crucial point here is knowing what actually falls under this rule. Major recognized presumptive conditions tied to Agent Orange and herbicide exposure include things like type 2 diabetes, ischemic heart disease, Parkinson's, several cancers like prostate and bladder, and peripheral neuropathy, which is that numbness or burning feeling in your hands and feet. If you have any of these conditions and you even set foot in Vietnam, the VA is required by law to connect it to your service automatically, no questions asked. But here is the piece almost nobody claims. Most veterans think Agent Orange only meant Vietnam. Actually, scratch that. It absolutely did not. If you served on or near the Korean DMZ between 1968 and 1971, or if you were stationed at bases in Thailand, Fort Drum in New York, Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, or various U.S. testing sites, you fall under the exact same presumptive rules. So many veterans just assume, well, I never went to Vietnam, so this doesn't apply to me, and they never ask. But if your duty station is on the recognized list, your path to automatic connection is exactly the same. Really take this to heart. Do not let a no from a decade ago talk you out of a yes that's available right now. This is absolutely vital. Back in 2022, the PACT Act vastly expanded these presumptionist lists. That means if you filed for a condition in, say, 2015, and the VA denied it because it wasn't on the list yet, that old denial is worthless today. The law literally changed underneath it. You're fully allowed to refile under today's rules and turn that old denial into a brand new approval. All right, Section 3, decoding VA math and how the numbers really stack up. Understanding this wonderfully confusing recalculation system is where the real money is hiding for pre-1990 vets. When you have more than one service-connected condition, the VA does not add them together normally. I mean, in regular math, 30% plus 30% is 60%, right? But in VA math, they use this combined ratings table based on the idea that a person can never be more than 100% disabled. So under VA math, 30 plus 30 lands at 51, which then rounds down to 50%. I know, it seems super strange, and it kind of feels like it works against you until you learn how to stack multiple conditions in your favor over time. Let me show you how this actually plays out in reality. Picture a veteran who filed for a back injury way back in 1985. They got a 30% reading and, well, life just happened. They never went back to update their file. Decades pass. Now, watch what happens when they finally claim what they're owed. They add newly developed Agent Orange diabetes at 20%. Then they add hearing loss at 10% and maybe another condition at 10. Normal math says that's 70, but using the VA combined ratings table, these actually stack to roughly a 55% combined total. And this recalculation matters massively. Just by moving from that old 30% rating to a 55% rating, a single veteran gains an extra $851 a month. That is over 10 grand a year they were already eligible for. Now let's push it further. Stack those conditions to 70% for a married veteran, and it's roughly $1,700 a month. Keep stacking all entitled conditions up to 100%, a married veteran unlocks over $3,700 a month. Plus, they get access to a whole stack of other benefits, things like property tax breaks, healthcare priority, and commissary access. Which brings us to Section 4, overlooked claims and benefits you definitely don't want to leave behind. So the overall gap isn't just one big hidden benefit, it's several smaller ones stacked together. Let's look at two specific benefits that pre-1990 veterans consistently miss, mostly because the VA is never going to automatically offer them to you. First up, unclaimed hearing damage. Look, hearing protection back when you served was nowhere near today's standards. If you were around sustained loud equipment, artillery, aviation, you name it, there is a massive chance you qualify. You just need to specifically request a VA audiological exam for compensation. Second is special monthly compensation. If your conditions have worsened over 30 years to the point of severe function loss, or maybe you need daily help, this compensation stacks right on top of your standard rating. But again, you have to demand the review. The VA is not going to call you up to offer it. All right, Section 5, your 5-step action plan to claiming your missing pieces. Now, some of you might be sitting there thinking you're quote-unquote too old for this. Let me stop you right there. This money is tax-free, you absolutely earned it, and having a higher rating secures vital survivor benefits for your spouse if something happens to you. So yeah, this is completely worth doing. Here's exactly what you need to do, step by step. Step 1. Go to va.gov and check your rating history. Look closely at the dates. If no new condition has been added in 5 years, that is a massive red flag that your file is incomplete. Step 2. File for unreviewed presumptive conditions, especially if you were in those qualifying locations we talked about. Step 3. Request that VA audiological exam. Step 4. If you have multiple separately rated conditions, demand a combined ratings recalculation. Make them run that math again. And step 5, please do not do this alone. Get free help from a veteran service organization like the DAV, VFW, or American Legion. They'll help you spot the gaps, and they do the whole thing for free. I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you still leaving your earned money on the table? Because the VA doesn't call you when the law changes. Your file doesn't just magically update itself. None of this moves until you take action. So take step 1 this week. And hey, if you know another pre-1990 veteran, and you almost certainly do, share this explainer with them right now. The odds are incredibly high that they're leaving money on the table too, and honestly, it's time to finally claim the benefits you both spent your youth earning. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.